Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry about that delay. How's it going? Oh my gosh. You guys are already starting. I don't mind, really. Okay, so... Alright, let's lower this down. I'm just checking Restream. Okay, I can hear that just fine. Hope you guys are doing well. We are up and running. Check Facebook. Keep an eye on Facebook because... So apparently the chat monitor is not working on Restream this morning, so I'll have to figure that out. Yeah, we'll get to that. All right, cool. How's it going? I'm BirdDogJon. Thanks for joining us today. We are underway. This week has already been crazy busy and it's still going. So here we are on a Tuesday morning. Whichever time zone you're in. Don't want to say anything about time zones around Beep Chirp or he's gonna have a hernia on us. Doesn't understand that people live in different zones. So it's 11 o'clock in the east. All right, Bursky, what is this? Hey, bit soon. I have a topic for you if there's no other questions. DPC latency and performance over NDI, about NDI on computers. Okay. I found out that I have a huge issue with DPC latency with 2+ NDI sources on my laptop, and that's something everyone know about. We could start going off of Zulu time if that will calm you down a bit, Beep Chirp. Okay, so DVC latency has a lot to do with your devices underperforming on your machine. And so it goes a lot further than just NDI devices. It's more about there probably is something going on in terms of the processes on your device, that on your laptop, that's causing more than just the NDI problem. The NDI is probably more of a symptom than it is the actual root cause, because, you know, we could run NDI on a lot of devices and without any latency. But if your performance on your specific machine isn't working correctly and you suspect that you already have an issue with DPC latency, then there's an issue. So I have never used any of the monitoring programs that are out there for DPC latency because, quite frankly, I've never run into an issue with this. But I do know that there is like a latency checker program and there's a latency monitor download program for Windows 10. So hang on, let me see if I can find it. I think it's called Latency Mon, M-O-N. This program will not only tell you if there's a DPC issue, but it will also tell you which driver is causing the latency. There might be something to start there. But I suspect this problem, if you have 2 NDI sources plugged into that are coming into your NIC card on your laptop, first of all, make sure that you're running the latest drivers on that NIC card, because that's only, well, it's close to 250 megabits per second if you're running a NIC card that's either out of date or if it's an older laptop. It may not be able to sustain that throughput all the time. So there's a couple of things you have to think about there. I don't know what laptop you're using, but you know, you'll be able to tell pretty quick. Using a local time zone or phrase them as UTC 11 America. New York or 11 Eastern, that'd be one thing. I usually say 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. It's really hard. I feel like in this day and age, it's got to be really hard to not follow that thought process. So Zulu time, it's 3 p.m. 1500 hours Zulu time, or UTC. I really don't feel like there's a lot of people out there that are confused by this. I think that this might be more of a specific problem just for you. Alrighty, so I have finally... Who says it's a problem? I don't know. You keep bringing it up, so I assume it's got to be a problem for you. So I have, for the first time ever, a BirdDog 4K quad that currently has a bat on it. It's a 4K quad. It was sent to me in RMA because somebody was having an issue. They tried to update it. Oh, that's weird. You changed it to stream? Okay. Anyway, they tried to update it and it gave it an internal error. So it has been sent to me and I am going to try and fix it. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon, briefly, while dancing between tickets and trying to get all of this, get all these tickets coordinated and answered. Oh, and I need to go to UPS to pick up a bunch of packages and drop off a bunch of packages. So here we go. It's going to be a busy day. It allows me to creatively misinterpret. That's an accurate statement. Do the PX hundreds? What could you have possibly meant there? I don't have a numeric keyboard here. I have a full keyboard. Try that again. Oh, first of all, no. XFAT probably shouldn't. Don't use XFAT. Use FAT or FAT32. You have to try between both. I've had success and failures with both, so no, not XFAT. Are you exclusive to like Mac or what's the problem there? I have actually had to format a thumb drive. Can they handle large drives? You can just unallocate the space. I wrote an article on this actually. They handle larger drives. No, but no, not a partition. Unallocate. It's different. It basically does partition it, but it wipes the other part so it's not accessible. You know, for the time being. Here. And I've never used like a big hard drive for this process, so use at your own risk. But here's the video. And if you can't get there, then here's the knowledge database article. Yoink. Clip adds. 2 switches in the network with a DHCP can cause issues for not discovering cams. Whew. Yeah, there's like 1,000 questions there. Give me a little more to go on, Clip, and we can walk down that road for you. Correct. Large partitions do not work. Basically, the baseboard times out before it's able to see the entire space. Yeah, 32. This is 128 gig. I just unallocate. the space I don't want, and I just use 4 gigs on it. And it works just fine. Or these guys, these ones are 32 gigs, and I unallocate them to 2 gigs. Super simple, works pretty well. So, I'm getting a lot of tickets in the help desk about networking and about why NDI devices struggle when there isn't a network infrastructure. And I know you guys know this because we talk about this a lot, but I'm going to have to put a video together or something about you can't just buy the frame of a sports car and expect it to perform like a sports car. You need the engine as well. It's just, I'm saying it a lot, I'm typing it out a lot, and so I feel like I need to like go out of my way to make a specific video that says, please assume that you're going to need a full network. NDI network, can I network sniff packets and find out which ones are zoom, tilt, pan? No. You cannot. Yes. You've been here this long and you're shocked about that? I don't know, I think you're going on several months here, aren't you, Beep Chirp? I do this rant at least once a week. Oh, I know. They're unlisted so we can get real-time data on who is actually watching them through the support desk. So we don't put them up on the BirdDog website. We let them be accessible through our knowledge database, which is all kind of evolving over some time here because we're going to eventually move to a little bit more intuitive self-help section where hopefully a lot of this stuff will be more at the fingertips of people needing support. We're also moving away from the email format of support and driving a lot of it into form submission or self-help. So trying to get people answers faster. So if I were to tell you, you can submit a help desk ticket and we'll respond in 48 hours, or you can go to the knowledge database and get your answers in probably less than 10 minutes. Most people pick the less than 10-minute option because then they don't have to wait 2 days to get their answers, especially when it's already available on the help desk or on the self-help thing. So we do that for, you know, count tracking and that sort of thing to see which ones are valid, which ones people watch the most, that sort of thing. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you feel like support is amazing. If you would tell all of your friends, that would be much appreciated. Yeah, we're bringing on a couple of support guys actually that are going to help me, and one's in Europe and one is in Australia. I'm pretty excited because that is going to allow us to drive more attention towards the self-help stuff. So I'll be spearheading more of that in the coming days, hopefully before the end of the year actually. So we'll see. Follow the sun coverage, that's for sure. Oh dear. Oh boy, now you just need someone in India. Well, Europe and Australia are going to kind of cover India because of the time differences. We actually will only have 1 hour where 1 hour in the day where it's not actually a business hour. So I'm trying to connect my bird dog to a Vive HTC tracker, and that's why I need and would like to have tracking data from the camera. Oh, geez, I don't think so. You can push commands to cameras, but I don't think you can actively watch the network traffic going to them. Are you wanting the like there are programs, third-party programs, mind you, that I've never used and never plan to use because I don't want to support them. There are third-party programs out there that track movements of subjects, but that is not a feature that we have worked into our cameras. There are cameras out there that do it, they just don't do it very well. I spoke with somebody at NAB Las Vegas in 2019 about that. There are a couple of ways to do it. You can put like a radio transponder and coordinate the camera with a receiver, on a control surface, and then put the transmitter on the body of the person that you're following. But it only really works at like short distances. It doesn't work very well up close, and it doesn't work very well far away. Which is why we still have manned cameras, honestly, or PTZ controllers. Maybe we can get data from the P200 to Unreal Engine. If you want to explore that, go for it. I will fully support you. But I'm pretty sure our engineers have their hands full right now. In particular, with this guy. With Quad. He has been having a rough go. Officially fully supported? Dude, you gotta go and have your hearing checked, because that is not what I said. Far from it. No demo units, no materials for testing, no, nothing. I will not provide you with anything in that regard. So yeah, I'm up to like maybe 2 or 3 tickets a day where I'm saying, does this network actually have a network, or is it just straight up like a random switch plugged in with nothing else going on? And they're like, yeah, I isolated it. I just plug all the cameras and my keyboard into my Cisco switch and I turn it all on. I'm like, okay, it's not really how that works. It's not how NDI works. What's the current version of the base? Are you asking baseboard? And yes. The current baseboard version is on the SV, it's the SV number. Can be found on the OSD menu, system submenu, SV number. That is how you verify which one you've got. It's the last 3 characters of the SV number is the one that you're trying to coordinate with the one on the website. So, where are we here? BirdDog firmware. There we go. Let's just take a quick peek at this. Yoink. Here is firmware, and we scroll down. P200 is baseboard 06, so it should end in 006. If it doesn't, you got a baseboard update to do. P100 just had a baseboard update 1.5. It was like it was 0.7 for a while, then it was T1, and now it's 1.5. So heads up, if you got a P100, you need to get that updated. So yeah, fun stuff. Technically, you could be using static IP addresses on all of those things. and it would technically work. Okay. Here's the thing. Technically, if you used static IPs on everything, but you still had a managed network, yes, technically it could work. The problem is that people put static IPs on their cameras, they put static IP on the keyboard, they put a static IP on a layer 2 switch, and they don't have any routing data. That's the problem. And so when the network devices query the network to find out who else is on the network, mainly keyboard, by the way, mainly keyboard. When they query the network, who else is broadcasting NDI, the keyboard has to rely on whoever is broadcasting at that moment. And the cameras don't broadcast continually their information. They broadcast on an incremental basis. So the keyboard's going to find some of the cameras, all of the cameras, none of the cameras, inconsistently over time. And because the cameras aren't broadcasting constantly, the little OK and no symbol on the keyboard is constantly going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you have a DHCP server with a default gateway, a proper one, and you're running on a single subnet, and you have a layer 2 switch with a routing query, then you can use static IP addresses if you want. The other piece about static, though, is that you should probably tell your network what static IP addresses are expected on the network. So you can't just set a static IP address on a device and expect it to show up on the query table, on the routing table. That doesn't always work. So you need to tell your sophisticated network, hey, I want to run purely static in this regard. Add these to your routing information, and then it will do it. So this is why I just say, use a DHCP network. It does all of this for you. It will assign IP addresses. It will manage the routing table. It will delegate who's in charge of the routing table information if you have multiple switches. It will delegate how the traffic should be routed between devices. Just set it up, let it do it, let it do its job. If you really don't want your IP addresses to change, use the DHCP reservation list. That's been my rant for weeks. Because it's people just think you got to just buy a dumb switch and plug everything into it. That's not, I don't know who is selling the products, but we need to like put inside the packaging, don't just plug this into a rando network that you haven't configured yet, because it's not going to work. It's a high performance device. AMD bought, what is this? Zilinic? Oh. Wow, it's the first thing to come up. $35 billion in stock. Huh. Hey, Michael. How are you? Yes. P400 versus P4K fight? I mean, I'll let you guys battle that out. I like them both. I have the P4K sitting here, and I think I have a P400 out in the hallway, actually. Yes. Yes, it does. That's actually very interesting. Okay, sorry, had to cough. SV is the baseboard version? Yes. The last 3 digits of the SV number is your baseboard version. Boy, this thing, the fans really do run on this thing, eh? I mean, they're not loud, but they're not quiet. They're not quite like the Flex. But granted, it's doing a lot, so. And this quad, you're probably not going to mount this on a camera anywhere. This is going to go inside your production booth. So when are we going to see a PCIe NDI card? Something like a cross between the Dante and the SDI. Last I talked to BirdDog guys, it's not going to happen from us. And the reason is when you make a PCIe card, you then end up supporting everyone's computers as well. And that is not something we are prepared or necessarily willing to do. And we can't just make a product and be like, it's all on you. You got to figure it out. Good luck. So I have no interest in supporting Windows 10 computers. I already do that with software, and it's a nightmare. Some people's computers allow third-party software, some do not. Some do not have NDI libraries, some do not have .NET, some do not have... Oh my gosh. It's brutal. Some people don't have admin rights. It's just one thing after another. And then you start building chips, and then you're supposed to troubleshoot them and test them and all that. No, thank you. White balance workflow for the P200? I think it's more of a statement, isn't it? Problem with coloration clip is it's super subjective. What I think looks good, you probably won't think looks good. And then depending on what I think looks good and the monitor that you're looking at it, like this Twitch stream, for example, on this screen, I'm more red. And on this screen, I'm a little bit bluer. And they're all the same monitor. And I've tried to balance them. And this is as close as I can get it. And this screen looks great. So there's a fair bit of... you're going to have to decide on a lot of that stuff yourself. I mean, technically... Alright, hang on. Providing hardware offload to the network connectivity, but exposing the camera-like interface to the OS? Sorry, I'm... Green screen-wise... Give us something more than hue shift. White balance with whiteboard. Takes tools to achieve accuracy. That's true. It's wise. Yeah, I mean, you can use a color board. You can use... I don't know, there's various things you can try and use, I guess. Get a consistent color. But yeah, it's not just as simple as copying pasting over settings from a single camera. Because they're all made by people, humans, and there's going to be variations in things. So to be more accurate, you would, yeah, try and use some sort of color chart, scope, as Michael says. You know. And it might be something as, like, you print off a bunch of colors and then you try and match those. You don't have to order or buy anything necessarily. But depends on what sort of level of accuracy you're looking for, too. If this is like a TV production studio, go out and buy stuff. If it's for, like, your stream, you can get away with some things. Or you can do, like, subjective. I think this looks good. I don't think this looks good. Man, I've been so frustrated with smart things recently. For some reason, and I think I figured it out actually, but for some reason all my devices kept going offline. So I moved the hub upstairs into my office. And it seems to be more consistent, at least. BNHvideo.com will help you with your monitors, John. Hub? Yeah, I run smart things in my house. What is this? I mean, I don't care that much. This thing's... I need to, like, research this a bit. And I don't know about spending that much on a color meter when I didn't even spend that much on one of these monitors. This is just like a peripheral monitor. Same with this one. This is the one I would do most of my work on, and the one that I stream from. Why are there hubs in your network? Well, it's a smart thing hub. It's not a network hub necessarily. I should say it's on one of my subnets. Switches only. Yeah, no, not a network hub. Smart Things Hub. That's what they call it. It's not a network hub. Yes, managed layer 2 switches only, or better. Agreed. Actually, I've been looking into starting to integrate NFC around the house with Smart Things, because it appears that that is a possibility. It takes a little bit more level of integration, but it would be a lot easier to set the house in like night mode, for example, like lock doors, and make sure everything's kind of set for the evening, just by touching my phone to an NFC pad that only allows access certain times of the day and whatever, so it couldn't be like used midday or whatever. The X-Rite color checker is pretty amazing. In an older network, a hub can be useful for Wiresharking traffic. Only get 100 megs, so not applicable to NDI. Plug it into the computer, fire up the software, follow the placement directions. Cool. Really? Lame. Profiles for each of your monitors and the color will be consistent between each of them and more accurate to true. A managed switch is better, or you can mirror ports. You can do a lot more with a managed switch. What I like is you can trunk ports on a switch, which greatly increases your throughput back to your core or however you're interacting. So I run fiber out of my machine into my network, into my NDI network, and I can, that fiber core is obviously 10 gigs, but the switch itself that most of the devices plug into are just all 1 gig, which is fine, except for the bridge between the fiber switch and the regular NDI switch that I use. So I just trunk over 4 ports, and that gives me 4 gigs, which is more than what I'm ever using in a testing scenario. And now that 4K is here, if I'm running multiple 4Ks back to my computer, I'm going to need that sort of throughput. So I'm excited. It's good. It's a good little arrangement. Seems to work well. Don't look directly into fiber with those newbie mistakes people are making. All right, let's check the Facebook feed here. So far, it looks good. Cool. If you haven't done so already, please follow the Twitch channel. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us out big time. Well, This is cool. I'm really excited to have one of the physically holding one of these, even though it's not mine. That's exciting stuff. Got all sorts of RMAs and boxes around me, as you can see. This, I'm trying to think about what is out there that we need to probably go over. The big piece, and that I hope if people are tuning in, they get the idea about having a real network for NDI. Don't cheapen out, even if it's like a mid-level, depending on what size NDI network you're trying to create. It does take some know-how to use a network, and so don't shy away from it. You can definitely learn it. Promise you, if you're in the broadcast industry, you have already proven that you are able to learn. So don't worry about that. But help, we can help you come along in the conversation and get more familiar with how NDI networks need to be set up. But seriously, they need to be set up correctly. So take that for what it's worth. The only I recognize is the Ford Motor Company. Which I'm on a high fiber diet, pulling fiber between a couple of Ubuntu switches this coming weekend. Nice. Tell me how that works, or how that works out for you. I tried to bridge my fiber core, my Ubuntu fiber core, with the fiber SPF, just straight SPF ports on my 16 port 150, and I just couldn't get them to be consistent. But then I trunked over those 4 ports and they all work just fine. So I used, on the Ubiquiti fiber core, there's 4 copper 1 gig ports. And so I just use all of those and plug those into the, open ports that I wasn't using on the 16. And that worked pretty well, other than I had to use a whole bunch of ports. I'd rather just have a little half a foot jumper that goes between the two, because they sit right next to each other. The problem there is that there's only 2 SFP ports on the 16 150, and so I'm actually getting more throughput using the 1 gig copper ports than I am the 2 1 gig fiber ports. So it's kind of like, but whatever. Has a bundle 8, I think, that I'm pulling between 24 port G2 switches in my home and garage. Nice. Let's jump over and take a quick look. 24 port Ubuntu G2. Fine, Unify, whatever. Is it a powered model? Oh man, that's like not very expensive. Oh, this isn't Gen 2. Oh yeah, it is. Is it the 250 or 150 or? Can't be the 150. 24 port only comes in the 250 or the 500. "16 port switches are trash because, yeah, no 10 gig ports." Yeah. I don't. For what I test in right now, I don't really care. If I were to put a switch downstairs in my basement and then like run fiber between the two, definitely 24. Did you know that I can't remember, I think it's Zigbee. So the smart home protocol that the units talk, I can't remember if it's Z-Wave or if it's Zigbee. They interfere with wireless because I think they're on the 800 and 900 megahertz. Oh no, wait, Zigbee. For crying out loud. Yes, Zigbee is the issue. So channel 11 on your wireless is the same as the Zigbee channel, which starts... Wi-Fi has 3 non-overlapping channels, 1, 6, and 11. They're separated enough so that if you are using a mesh network and then your APs are broadcasting, if you have 3 of them, you set them on 1, 6, 11, they'll operate independently and pretty good. However, Zigbee starts at 11 and goes to 22, which is silly because it's on the 2.4 gigahertz network. Like, why? Why? You have so many channels. Why not turn off 11? I don't know. Ubiquity. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I type in UBNT, which my brain always goes to Ubuntu. But ubnt.com is Ubiquity's website. And then it redirects to UI, probably because of that reason, actually. But yes, sorry, not Ubuntu. Ubuntu is another program that I am using for some support stuff. Ubiquity, UBNT, or Ubiquity, whatever, Unify switches. Sorry, I misspoke there. Yeah, they changed it, I guess. But my controller, like my account, is unify.ubnt.com / yada yada yada. Oh no, and now that redirects to ui.com. Okay, so what do I know? What do I know? Not a whole lot, apparently. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yoink. Program. Ubuntu is a program now? Okay, so it is an operating system. Yes. Jeez, you're picking me apart here, man. There is also a shell program that will run Ubuntu, which will allow you to run small Ubuntu apps on your Windows 10 machine. You have to enable the subsystems for Linux inside the turn features on and off on Windows, but it's a nice little shell program that we run to interact with the back end of our devices, so it's cool. I actually run a lot of Raspberry Pis in this house. Primarily, there's one for like an ad blocker, there's one for calendars, there's one for a bunch of things, and I'm actually considering making one as a hub for Steam. So you can install Steam, the viewer, like the little portal program, on a Ubuntu. Yeah, I said that right. On a Ubuntu Raspberry Pi, and then use that to basically stream that information, across your network. So I'm tempted to give that a try and see how that goes, because I've got a really nice system downstairs. This 3-monitor setup is fine, but for the games that I play, which seem to be older games, they don't support, screen spanning or anything. So it would be fun to pull that stuff up downstairs. Anyways, I haven't played around enough with that. Be something that I do when I just, am bored and have nothing going on. Because we all know that day's coming. Yeah. Raspbian. Pick your poison. So, so what I really want to know is, really? We haven't covered it already? When is the official BirdDogJon Among Us party? Well, that could actually happen pretty soon. Not kidding. I have played it once. I bought it late last week, played it once, and died a whole bunch of times. And then I did it because my sister, who lives in Texas, and her daughter, my niece, play it on Wednesdays. And so I was like, okay, I gotta like figure this out and take a look at it. So on my gaming Twitch stream, which is a different channel altogether, I played that for 30-45 minutes. Just try to, 3 or 4 rounds just to get my feet wet. So if that is something that is a desire, I might be able to hook that up sometimes. No, I do not stream games here. This is Bird Dog Live. This is where, unless you think this stream is like a game, you can follow both. You don't have to just follow this one, but I don't promote it here. I do that separately. Let me see. Let me go to YouTube, because I think I push it there. It's been a long time. I actually I used to stream on Twitch. I started on Twitch gaming. And now I primarily do this, but that's because of pandemic. I haven't pushed it to YouTube though. Alrighty. But yes. So I think I'm gonna try and play Among Us tomorrow, and that'll be on my other channel. If anybody wants to hang out over there, totally fine. Try and keep things business oriented on this one, or rant oriented, depending on how you look at it. I guess I'll go to the Among Us game page on Twitch tomorrow and refresh every 15 minutes and read every single entry trying to find you. Sounds good. Hey, if you wanna... if that's what you wanna do. I'll message you my handle. How about that? Weird. It doesn't seem to be wanting to do that. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Mute. Here we go. Alrighty, well, I have 10 minutes left over here because we end at 4 p.m. Zulu time, UTC, which is in 10 minutes. So let me know if you got any questions. We can certainly go over those. If you get an outstanding ticket or something that you'd like to follow up on, that's why I'm here. So you can shoot me the ticket number. Let me know what's going on. I'd be happy to talk you through it. Sometimes talking on here is a lot faster than waiting for emails. Plus, there's a lot of emails. So I work through them as quick as I can at a pace that I try to be sustainable at. But we really need, if you have any issues here, please let me know what's going on. Beep chirp. So I've been reading the release notes on the P100 and they weren't very verbose. Okay, what do you want to know? I'm happy to assist. What do you need to know? But if you say something like, is it as good as the P200? I'm going to end this stream right now. They weren't... Oh, what changed? Oh, okay. Let me jump over there because they send me the update on the backside. So here we go. P100. Okay, so for the latest, let me make sure I'm looking at the latest and not like a pre-release. Okay, so 373 is the latest. Okay, so the big update with 373. Oh wait, what makes this release better than? Okay, so what makes it better is the OSD and the Web UI now talk and reflect each other's changes. So we're having this big issue where people were making changes on the keyboard, and then when they would refresh the Web UI, it wouldn't show any changes. Or they would refresh the OSD for some reason if they're using the OSD, and it wouldn't show that they had made a change on the keyboard. Well, now the idea is with this, this is the first step to making those changes live. If you make a change on the OSD and you refresh the website, it will, like your web UI, it will reflect the changes now that you made in the OSD. So that was a pretty big one because people were getting very confused when setting their computer. That is very helpful. Seeing is believing. It's true. What about the API? I don't know if the API, if this will do it now or not. In theory, it should. It should like if you make a change using the API, it should show up in the web UI, because it's essentially doing some of the same things. So seeing is believing. So Sherman, is it actually working for you? I have a P100 here. I'm gonna fire it up. Hang on. Can I? Yes, I can. Let's take a look. Here we go. Guys are cutting the lawn out front. Is it actually working for you? Words that I like to hear from support. Well, good luck. Also, why aren't you using some sort of BirdDog camera as your primary stream? Because all the BirdDog cameras I have are $2,500 PTCs. And they're for testing purposes. They're not for this necessarily, so. I actually... So this streaming rig that I have, like I said, I run another stream that isn't BirdDog related. And so I feel like if I was to monetize the other stream, which I'm not there yet, Obviously that would be a conflict of interest with my job. So I bought all this gear, sound gear, my sound rack, everything. It's all mine. So that I do this kind of on the, because I can. I do this because this is the type of support I would want to have available for me, if not. But in terms of like using the BirdDog gear to do all that, like I'm constantly shipping my demos away. I'm constantly working on other products. I'm replacing my working devices with customers' broken ones. It's just like too much coming and going, and then constantly changing colorization stuff. In this regard, I have my camera set up. It's never going anywhere, and I just plug it in and away I go. Maybe that just means I'm lazy. I don't know. And or just trying to know my settings are set to ranges I commonly use. Are you implying that using them for this wouldn't be testing and verifying that they work? Well, yes, but then I'd probably have to take it apart and ship it back and all that. And by seeing, I meant seeing the actual values in the UI. Are you running waves for your sound gear? No, I'm not running waves. iPhone, what's going on? Welcome back. Just in time. Okay, P100's here. Let's see what firmware I've got on there. It's been a while since I've used this one. I've had another P200 or P100 plugged in, and I've had a 4K, dealing with a 4K here for the past little while. 119. 1.119. BirdDog Eyes, P100. Oops, that was wrong. Yoink! I am running 3.5. So, let's give her an update. Curious if you could go over a bit of the BirdDog cloud stats, i.e. related receiving, reorder, wind congest. Yes, I can do that. Cloud2.bird-dog.tv login. Guess I need to turn my cloud endpoint on. I'm going to do that. Here it comes. Alrighty, so BirdDog headsets are gone. I don't believe we are planning on bringing those back. There are lots of problems there, but from what I know, I don't believe that we're working on rebuilding them, especially because they work with most other headsets. The SRT demo is going well. Just need to finish the current show to really test it out further. Nice. Okay. So my endpoint's coming online here. Let me bring in a signal from Norway. Actually, let me bring in a signal from Australia. NBank. May not have anything online over there right now. Let's see. Oh, there's something. Excellent. Can I use this? Okay, so there's no content actually. So dump this. All right, let's use one off of mine. Hopefully I don't kill my stream here. Send this to Australia, who are currently asleep, 3 in the morning. All right. All right, so configuration, let's go real small. All right, so yoink yoink. All right, they're picking it up on their end. All right, so here we go. What do we got here? I just need this. BirdDog headsets are gone. We'll never get. I have 5 of them. They work well. Plug on the studio, is that TRS or TRRS? Plug on the studio is TRRS. It's a 4-wire. And it is not an Apple TRRS. Whoa. Hang on. I gotta open Restream here. Okay. Using a fair bit of bandwidth here, so I closed down some stuff. Close this. Close this. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yoink. Close this. Close this. Gotta leave these ones open. Okay, so yeah, serious lag because I'm encoding here. All right, let's switch over to desktop. That'll be easier. Hopefully. Okay, so here is cloud, and my connection that I've got going on here is from USA over to Dan over in Australia. So let's just go over this briefly. We want to talk on BirdDog Cloud stats, receive, reorder, and win congest. Okay, so these stats typically don't change unless you're having major malfunctions on the wire. All right, so if you're starting to get drop packets and that sort of thing, you're going to get errors showing that the packets that are being received on the receive end, by the way, because they don't show up here on the transmit, are showing up incorrectly or out of order or whatever. The win congest is really just how it's like a real-time transmit thing between the two, but for the most part, that shouldn't change because, and it should probably be the same as far as I understand. Anyway, so in general, though, obviously the bits that you have sent and that have been received, these should closely reflect each other. Your packets that have your total amount of packets that you've sent during this connection, total lost packets, this is how many did not arrive. Drop packets is this is how many did not arrive and were not recovered. Resent packets, this usually reflects the lost packet number, and this is when a packet gets lost, it gets re-requested and it can be sent back because there's a little bit of latency worked into things here, so we can actually do that efficiently and it won't break the stream. Bitrate, so obviously the floating number as to what bitrate you're actually sending. This actually belated received is that number when you start dropping packets. This is basically going to say, you know, like how many arrived out of order and that sort of thing. I need to actually get it defined. We should just, does he actually have it in here? No. So if the packets arrive out of sequence, the encoder or the endpoint will actually try and resequence them for you. So that'll try and hold that stream, that integrity together, which is good news. Trying to think. Win congest. I don't know if this is a reflection on. I'll need to ask about this one. If this is a reflection on time, milliseconds, or if this is a reflection on packet variance, but I'll check on that for you. The round trip is really the big one that you want to pay attention to because this is the one that will show you if you're really having a problem. Basically, the time it takes for the packet to get from here to there and for the confirmation to come back. So pay attention to that. This is going from Michigan over to Melbourne. All right, so that's pretty much like worst case scenario, I think, depending on internet connection speeds and that sort of thing. And then your buffer size, how much space you have left allocated to if the encoders start to struggle, if the CPUs max out, all that sort of stuff. And you can see my CPU is topping out here right now because, actually I know why, because I'm not using NVENC. I'm using, here, we switch to here. See my GPUs take over. My CPU should just drop off. It's also running this stream. Oh, look at that though. So my video has gotten a lot smoother. Nope. CPU's still high. I need to go in and double check that. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Come on. Toggle all on off. Okay, cool. Do we have any on here? No, all 0. Drop packets, 0. Lost packets, 0. Packets sent. So I've restarted this, so obviously this number restarted over again. If I have the bandwidth between point A and point B, will the SRT connection run full frame? It runs full SRT. It's not running full frame NDI. So it is converting it to SRT. I'm getting some belated on the RX, but no drops. Yes, so what you could do there is go in here and play with the latency time. It directly related to the round trip. So round trip time 333, let's just say that. So we open our calculator and we say 333 times 2.5, 832. So we would change this to say like 800 or 830, and then save this and watch it again. Watch it reconnect and see what happens. You simply round trip time 2.5 to set latency as a starting point. Yes. Do you know of any certain AWAS EC2 that can run NVENC? Current client server can't run it. There is somebody on the Facebook group that is running the AWAS. And they have it configured. Forget who it is. But yes, I know of somebody who is doing it. Oh, there you go. Whoops. Somebody does have it configured. I know that somebody is doing it. I just don't have the specs right at hand. Let me look. Ah, what's this? No, it's not in my email. Yes, there's a lot. There's so much potential. It's just a matter of deciphering all of that, making good use of all that potential. All right, extract. Go over here, save, settings, update file, 373, update P100. Okay, well, it is 10 after, and so I have to get back after these tickets. There is no way around it other than slogging through it. So I'm going to update my P100. Come back on Thursday. I'll let you know about the update for P100, WebUI, OSD stuff changing correctly. And I'll verify that it works on mine and let you know. Yeah, the only way out is through. That is for sure. And sometimes, well, anyway. Lots to cover there. Anyway, so I'm going to update and we will check that out. I don't have the API on here, so I'll have to ask the engineers to verify that for me. Okay, there. Now I've got this. Let's open Studio Monitor. Sherman, thanks for stopping by, man. And I will see you guys. The camera doesn't have the API. No, the camera does. I don't have any of that stuff where I'm sending commands through the API right now. Whoops. Turn this camera around. Whoa. I need to work on this image. Oh, it's all in manual. That's fine. Not now. Full auto. Whoa, noise reduction. All crazy. Oh, and gamma 1. Why? Come on. Eight. Done. There we go. $1080i. How do you sleep at night? Cool. 1080p. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. Awesome. Nope. Just changed it to 1080p. There we go. The camera doesn't have the API. No, the camera does. What I'm saying is I don't use the API. That's the engineers do all that testing, not me. So I will check with them and see what happens. Can or will the keyboard control the BirdDog Studio output to follow the current camera selected? No. It does not do that. I don't know of any plans of implementing such an item. Same request has come in for, can we plug in a monitor to, I don't know, somehow plug it in so when we call a camera, it will change it on the screen for us so we can control it. I don't know if that
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Thanks. Okay, Google. I don't know of that feature ever being implemented either. But I don't believe that keyboard can control a BirdDog Studio. Wouldn't want to give you that hope. Whoa, what on earth? Oh. Gamma is set to 2. Why? Alright, so OSD, PTZ, OSD. Let's also watch the AV screen. OSD on. Pan tilt zoom, picture. Let's go to white balance. That one's pretty standard. Right. Color, white balance mode, manual 2. Why would I ever want that? Alright, so auto. Okay, so let's go to manual 2, actually. Manual 2. Refresh. Oh, you know what? I may not have the right baseboard on this. Why would you ever want to manually white balance a camera? Listen. Ah, old baseboard. Alright, so I'm going to fix this and we'll get on with it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you guys on Thursday at 1500 Zulu time, which is coincidentally 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of you. Beep chirp. So be sure to join me again on Thursday, and we will chat again. Bring your questions. Bring your 11 Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday. Current time in the Eastern Time Zone. Eastern EST, Eastern Standard Time Zone, is 12:15 p.m. It won't be 11 Eastern Standard until next week. Oh my gosh. Nine o'clock Mountain Time. Maybe I'll just start saying that. Join me 9 o'clock Mountain Time for Bird Dog Live. Because apparently we can't figure out the Eastern Time Zone. We can't settle on something that everyone's happy with. So you could just say Eastern. I don't know. People might wonder if I'm in Asia. Fine. Eastern Time. We'll change it to Eastern Time from now on. Hopefully then you will be okay. It's only Eastern Standard for 4 months out of the year. I think you're pretty much the only one that knows that. Or perhaps wants to know that. Well, while we're sitting here and arguing about the time, I'm going to reboot my camera. And nothing is confusing as Arizona. Uh-oh. All right, P100 has just reboot, hopefully with the latest baseboard on it. Look, once you start having to deal with Time Zones Pro, along with the Olsen TZ database, I know nothing about that. You're gonna make me Google something. The Zone Info database, and occasionally... So, what was wrong with Zulu time? What was wrong with UTC? P100 just reloaded. Actually, I think that image looks better. Come on. Zulu is fine. Also known as Eastern Standard Time, which is now incorrect because we are in Eastern Daylight Time. So you really do care about this stuff. All right, baseboard should be updated now. I had to for scheduling purposes. I see. I see. Oh, yikes. Yeah, pass. I just set Zoom meetings and send people invites, and Zoom does the time zone for me. Right? T1! That's not what I put in there. Maybe it's this one. Let's find out. It is this one. Yoink. One more time. Are you sure you didn't put T1 in there? I'm excited about the T1 firmware update. Well, don't get too excited because now it's 1.5. T1 is gone. Come on, there she is. PTZ, OSD, up, right. Ah! Blast. I'll figure it out. I'm doing something wrong. I may have just used the wrong USB. Okay, well, it was asked when BirdDog is officially going to do the Among Us BirdDog session. Maybe tomorrow night. I don't know. We'll see. But that will happen over at my other Twitch channel. So have to check that out. If you're interested in joining me there, let me know. Other than that, come back on Thursday. We're going to finish out the week talking a little bit more NDI, going over your questions and your tickets, and showing little demonstrations per your request. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been real. We got one more Halloween show, and then it's back to plain old me. So enjoy it while it lasts, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. I appreciate you guys in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And we will check on you guys Thursday at 3 p.m. Zulu time, which happens to be 11 Eastern. The end.